Hello everyone, Straight Sports Talk here, and I'm here with Bell.
Yep, hey everybody.
And what are we going to talk about today, Bell?
Today we're going to be talking about some, obviously baseball, but we're going to answer some fan questions, talk about the NL East, and we're going to compare the outfields today of basically all the elite outfields and rank them.
Alright, sounds good. And what did you want to cover first?
Well, I guess why don't we talk about the NL East, obviously, just the overall offseason. I think that's a good way to start it. So, I guess really the big thing was the Braves getting Justin Upton, and I think that really completes their lineup, obviously, just because now they're basically set at every position except for third base, but I'm not worried about that. What are your thoughts about that?
About Atlanta?
Yeah.
I think that they look really good this coming year. Like you said, they still have maybe a third base problem, but I think with the addition of the Upton, the Upton brothers playing there, I think that they're pretty much set. But I still don't think they're going to win the division.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're going to win the division, but they definitely have a very good lineup, and their bullpen is definitely one of the best, if not the best bullpen. Yeah, that's about it for the Braves. Why don't we go over to the Nationals? They just added Rafael Soriano very recently, and the question is, what do they do with Drew Storen?
I would put him as a setup guy, personally. I think Soriano is probably the better closer. I think anyone can close, personally. Him, Clippard, Soriano, Storen,
Yeah.
Anyone can close. I don't think it's such a big deal that everyone makes it out to be. But between the three of them, I would probably put Soriano there.
Right.
But I would have to say their biggest addition this offseason has to be Danny Herron, though. I mean, he had one bad year.
Yeah, he had one bad year. The other years, he's been very good. Cy Young type numbers. I think they got him pretty cheap. There's still maybe a question about the back issue, but I'm not really worried about that. I mean, it is Dan Herron. He's a good pitcher, and that's a very good rotation, very good bullpen, and a very good lineup. If I were to pick who would win the East, it would probably be the Nationals.
I think Miami's going to win it.
Yeah.
But I think the Nationals are going to win it, especially if they end up getting Javier Vasquez, too, on top of everything else. Because the reason I say that is, let's say Herron's back isn't as good as he's letting everyone to believe. Well, Javier Vasquez steps in as a number 5 in a rotation, or a number 4, depending on where they want to put Detweiler. Come on now. That's a rotation full of studs.
Yeah, I mean, Javier Vasquez, he did not pitch last year, obviously. But last year he pitched was with the then Florida Marlins, and he was even good then. He had a 3.49 ERA. He can still pitch.
I would have to agree with you, but I'm under the inclination that Jamie Moyer can still pitch.
Yeah, I love Jamie Moyer. He helped the Phillies win a World Series, so that guy is a good pitcher in my books. Hall of Famer.
Hey, he is a Hall of Famer, and you know what? I want Seattle to give him a 1-year contract.
Yeah, that'd be a perfect storybook ending, because you can't end your career with the Rockies. I mean, come on.
No, he either needs to sign with one of 3 teams. He needs to sign back with the Cubs, because that's where he started with, Seattle, because that's where he spent the most time with, or the Phillies, because that's where he won his ring.
Right. Yeah, either one. It's definitely where I would go. Love the guy. Great that he was the oldest person to actually win a game. That was exciting.
Exactly. I mean, come on, who doesn't want a 50-year-old pitching?
Right, exactly. I mean, you can pitch forever. As long as you can get over the plate and make hitters hit the ball to a player, you're fine. Alright, well, why don't we move on to the Phillies? Delman Young. Why don't we talk about Delman Young? Since I'm a Phillies fan, I like the signing for one reason, just because it's cheap, but the reason I don't like it is the guy is huge, and he hasn't played right field since 2007.
I think I posted this on the page. Rest in peace, Phillies defense with Michael Young and Delman Young.
Yeah, Michael Young hasn't played third base since 2010. I mean, then you have Darren Ruff in left field. The defense is going to be interesting.
To say the least.
Yeah, they're both kind of set with Mike Adams signing. They got Michael Young for third base, and they got Aaron Cook to put around either in the rotation or put him in the minors, and they also got John Lannon.
I think between everyone you guys have signed, I think John Lannon had to be the best signing there.
Yeah, I think that was a very underrated signing, just because you got him for very low price, and if he pitches very well, then you're only paying him $3.5 million.
I mean, for Michael Young and Delman Young, there's no such thing as a bad one-year deal, but
yeah,
well, there isn't, because if it doesn't work out, they won't be on your team next year.
Exactly.
It's not like a Jason Bay signing or a Vernon Wells signing or something.
Exactly, especially since if they do well, then you kind of have the inside way of getting them back to the town, because you have more time to re-sign them than other teams have to sign them.
Exactly.
Well, why don't we go to the Marlins?
What's left of them?
What's left of them? I saw a page question if the Marlins are really at fault for trading away their teams, as well as the Nationals and the Braves look, and I say no, just because they traded all their players away before the Nationals got Herron and they got Soriano. I mean, they still looked like they were competitors before they traded away everybody.
Yeah, and I don't really get why they traded away everybody. I mean, I'm pretty sure with the people that they had a winning team. It's just they didn't do good last year. Everyone has off years. It's just I don't agree with it. They should have kept the players they have. I guess I should say.
Like, I don't know if there's money problems or not, but they traded away a lot of good players, and in my opinion, didn't get a lot of good prospects back. They did get some good prospects, but I think they could have gotten a lot more for what the package was.
I have to agree with you.
And the Mets. There was actually a question about the Mets from Henry H. He asked, how will the Mets bolster their outfield depth, and who would be the ideal outfielder? Well, this was before, obviously, all the signings happened, and, there's not really that many people out there left. They could trade for Alfonso Soriano, as I said. I'm obsessed with the guy. But there are a lot of, small outfielded people. Michael Bourne is on the market, and I think he's, the most likely person probably go to the Mets if they sign a free agent.
I would have to probably agree with you. If they wanted to go a cheap way, I mean, if you'll ever notice, if you get to know me a bit better, I kind of like the veterans, okay? I'm just one of those kind of people. I think that they're stable, and things like that. They could always go off and sign a player like a Johnny Damon.
All right. Yeah.
Johnny Damon, he's older, but he still hits 300 every year.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that's to have on your team. He's almost kind of like a Shane Victorino, I guess, in a sense. Or at least when Shane Victorino was hitting 300. But Johnny Damon's a solid player and has been throughout his career.
Exactly. He's not the best defensively anymore. Yes, he's lost a step. But if you look at the other people that are out on the market, I mean, Jason Repko, I mean, what's the last time he's done anything? Scott Podsednik, he's okay. There's just not a lot out there. And I think unless you're going to go for the big deal with Michael Bourne, I think Johnny Damon's probably number 2, other than maybe if you want to take a chance on Grady Sizemore, if he's going to stay healthy.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't sign him, though. He's not worth a 17th overall draft pick. I mean, I think that's what they have for the draft. and I don't think he's worth that. I guess, what do you want to talk about? You want to do some fan questions, or do you want to do some comparisons to the outfield?
Let's do some fan questions.
Okay, let's see. Well, Josh asks, I got 2 questions that deal with division races. In the NL West, do you think the Dodgers spent enough money to be a contender? And are the Giants still the favorite? And we'll answer that, and then we'll answer the next question. If they haven't spent enough money, I don't know how much money is enough. I mean,
I thought they were printing money.
Yeah, they're the new New York Yankees. Personally, it's a very good team. I think they're better than the Giants. Not a big fan of Carl Crawford. I think that was a mistake to get him. But the rest of the team is pretty solid all around. They got Hanley at third base. They got Matt Kemp. They got Carl Crawford. I mean, they just got a ton of people. Adrian Gonzalez.
Okay, yes, they may have a ton of people, but I have to disagree with you. The Giants are definitely going to win that division, okay? Arizona is okay. San Diego's and Colorado aren't even close. You know, San Diego has a tiny chance to maybe be this year's Baltimore. Colorado's out of it, okay? But I think San Francisco's going to win this division. There's something to be said about having a team chemistry, having the same exact guys they had last year. Look at their rotation: the Matt Cain, Vogelsong, Bumgarner, and Lincecum. I mean, come on. Seriously? That rotation is really, really good. And if you look at the Dodgers rotation, I think it's a bit overrated. Ryu, I think his name is, Hyun-Jin Ryu, you don't know what he's going to be in America.
Exactly.
You know? For everything we know, he could be the next Tomooka, or he could be, you know, Yu Darvish, 0.2, you know, whatever. And if you look, Zach Greinke is good, okay? But I don't think he's worth the money they're giving him. He hasn't had a really great year since his Cy Young year. He's been good, but he hasn't been that type of money good. Now, Clayton Kershaw, completely different, okay? He's really good. He is very good. But if you look at their other pieces in that rotation, like a Ted Lilly or Chad Billingsley, Aaron Harang, Josh Beckett, all these people, they're not as good as people say they are. I don't see it. I see them making a wild card, but I don't see them winning the division.
Okay, his second question is, who wins the NL Central? Reds, Cards, or Pirates, or the Brewers? And of course, the Cubs are in there, but, you know.
Well, I think the Cubs will be improved this year. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I think maybe within the next few years they'll make the playoffs again. But I think the Reds are going to win the division. They're, on paper, the best team in the division. The St. Louis, same explanation as the Dodgers. They're not as good as everyone says they are. And Milwaukee may have the best offense around, but what have they done to improve their pitching staff?
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh is always the tale of two seasons. First half, they're great. Second half, they're bad, or vice versa. I don't. Cincinnati's the most stable team, and I believe that they are the best team in that division.
I actually agree with you. That would be my choice for the NL Central. And this kind of leads up to Ryan B's question, which is who will win each division and why, and a World Series prediction as well. So I guess I'll do mine first.
Okay.
I'll do the Nationals for the NL East just because they've got a huge offense, their rotation is great, and their bullpen is superb. Give them an A+ for their off season. They're the NL East. You heard before, Reds definitely for the NL Central. And NL West, as much as I want to say the Dodgers, I just have a bad feeling that injuries are going to strike them and that they're just going to completely just faceplant. So I am going to pick the Giants, as much as I hate saying the Giants, because they beat the Phillies in 2010. I'm going to say the Giants. And the American League, AL East, I'm picking the Jays. Why? Because of the Marlins trade. That's it. I would not even pick them if that trade had not happened. And the Melky Cabrera signing, which I think is overrated, but it's still a decent signing. The AL Central, I'm actually going to pick the Indians. And this is kind of a preemptive thing. If they make one more move, get an outfielder, then I pick the Indians. Just because their lineup is good, their rotation is decent, and their bullpen is pretty decent as well. I think that they could really take the division by surprise and actually win a lot of games, just because their offense is actually okay. So I'm going to pick them. And then the AL West, who else but the Angels? Not a fan of the Athletics. I like the Athletics, and I like rooting for them. I think they're a one-time thing. I don't think anything's going to come out of that. The NL wild cards would probably be either the Braves or I'm going to say the Phillies, just because I'm a Phillies fan. I like the Phillies. And yeah, I think that's all. That's all that I need to cover. How about you?
Oh, what about your American League wildcards?
Oh, right. American League wildcards, I would have to pick Detroit, and I'm going to pick the White Sox. Those are my two wildcards. So I'm liking the Central Division in the AL, and I'm liking the East Division in the NL.
Alright. In the NL, I'm going with I'm going to start with the East. Like I said earlier, the Nationals, they're a stud of a team. Central, Cincinnati, not going to go over it again. The West, San Francisco, not going to go over it again. It's pretty simple with those. But I'm going to move on to the American League East, and I actually think that Tampa Bay is going to win the division. Tampa Bay is definitely going to win that division. They have the pitching, okay? Their pitching is great. Yeah, they got rid of James Shields, but if you look at that rotation, it's really good. And they have a bit of an improved offense this year with possibly a Will Myers going up there. Yeah, he's unproven, but I'm pretty sure he's going to do well. And along with a few little signings like James Loney, I think they're going to win that division. In the Central, I'm going to have to say Detroit. Just the mixture of their pitching rotation head off by Justin Verlander and their offense, I don't see how they can't win that division. The West, the Angels are the best team on paper. I mean, when you have Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, and Josh Hamilton in the same lineup, are you looking at an all-star game or a team? That's what I have to ask. In terms of wild cards, I think the wild cards in the American League will be Toronto and Kansas City.
Oh yeah, Kansas City is a good pick as well. I really like the AL Central. That is a very tough division.
Yeah, I would have to say, with the exclusion of maybe Minnesota, I would have to agree with you. And the National League wild cards, in my opinion, would have to be Philadelphia. Yeah, I went there. Philadelphia, if they have a good season, some of their players on there. I mean, when you have Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels, you have the potential to get into the playoffs. And the other wild card team, I'm gonna have to say the Dodgers. As much as I hate to say it, I don't like the Dodgers, being an Angels fan, but they have the team to be a wild card. Who do I see in the World Series? I see it being an Angels and Reds World Series.
My World Series pick is going to be Indians. Yes, that is right. I am saying the Indians and the Nationals.
Very interesting. We'll have to see. We'll have to make a little bet. See who's closer. Angels, Reds, or Indians, Nationals.
They're two good picks. I think that they're at least kind of close. Do I have time to talk about the outfield real quick, or no?
Yeah.
All right. So right now we're going to talk about the outfield real quick. Obviously, because the Braves just got Justin Upton, and I posted on the page saying that the Braves now probably have the best all-around outfield. And what I mean by that is I'm also talking about base stealing and defense, as well as power and runs batted in average. Now, I would still rather have the Angels outfield because I really like power. I just love having a power outfield. Now, if you look at the numbers, Mark Trumbo versus Justin Upton. Trumbo had like a 270 average, Justin Upton, and I'm doing an average of Justin Upton's 2009 and 2011 season. Because those were his good seasons, and I expect him to have a good season this year. So he would have a 295. Trumbo hit 32 home runs, and Upton hit 29. And then Trumbo hit around 95 home runs, and Upton hit around 90. Now the big difference is the slugging percentage. Trumbo only had 490 slugging percentage, while Justin Upton would have around a 530 slugging percentage. And that makes a difference. So you want to take Justin Upton as well as because he's a much better fielder. But I still would take the Angels outfield. I definitely would take Trout over BJ Upton in a heartbeat. Trout will steal more bases, hit more home runs, hit for better batting average as well as slugging percentage. He had about 120 more points in slugging percentage than BJ Upton did. And then Hayward versus Hamilton. I mean, Hayward will hit you 30 home runs and around 80 RBIs, and he got the Gold Glove last year. But, Josh Hamilton, I think he's a big deal, and I think he can really do well in that Angels lineup, especially with the protection he has with Trumbo, Pujols, Mike Trout. I mean, I would take the Angels outfield. And there are a lot of other good outfields, like the Reds with Shin-Soo Choo, Ryan Ludwig, and Jay Bruce. You got Toronto with their outfield. There are a lot of good outfields. I still think that the Angels are the best as in hitting. I think the Braves have the best with potential, as in they can steal more bases, hit for better average, but I would still take the Angels outfield.
I have to agree with you. The Angels have the best offensive and defensive outfield, because I believe that they're going to play Peter Borges, Mike Trout, and Josh Hamilton, not Mark Trumbo. I think Trumbo's going to be DHing since they got rid of Kendrys Morales.
That is good.
And if they have Borges, Trout, and Hamilton in your outfield, that's a great outfield defensively. Borges in center, Mike Trout in left field, and Hamilton in right field. I mean, every fly ball that gets hit is out there, as long as it's not a home run, it's going to get caught. I mean, it's just that simple.
Right.
And offensively, Mike Trout, you never know what he's going to do his second year. There always is that potential for a sophomore slump type thing, but I don't think so. I mean, his numbers may go down a little bit. I mean, last year, let's face it, last year he had a career year for a lot of guys. So maybe expect his average to go down by 20 points. Maybe steal a bit more bases because he'll have more time. But I still think that they're going to have a great outfield. Other good outfields I'd like to point out: Cincinnati, I think Shin-Soo Choo, Jay Bruce are really good, but Ludwig's only okay.
Yeah,
Atlanta has a good outfield, as you were saying, but the Angels definitely have the best if you put together defense and offense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Trumbo just because he gets. I hate when players get DH'd. Adam Dunn, I hated when he got DH'd. Not just because of the team, but I just hate seeing players get put to DH when they can help a National League team, because I'm a National League fan. But obviously the Phillies are going to have the best outfield. I mean, you got Darren Ruff, who weighs 220 pounds in the left field, then you got Delman Young, weighs 235 pounds or something in right field. That's a good outfield right there.
I think you should put Willie Mopena in center field while you're at it.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that'd be a dream team outfield right there.
I wouldn't want to see anything in slow motion.
Nope.
When Willie Mopena jumps up to steal a home run, he'll break his back.
He'll break the wall. Well, that's good, everybody. Thank you for coming to Straight Sports Talk. I'm Bell, and
I'm Nike.
Niker. Thank you all for coming out, and see you later.